On the day of the college entrance exam, my childhood sweetheart received a video call from his first love. In the video, his first love was standing on the rooftop. "I don't care, you come here right now, or I'll jump." I stopped my childhood sweetheart from going and told him to call the police and let them handle it. I had to drag him into the exam hall to take the college entrance exam. Yet his first love ended up marrying the firefighter who saved him. My childhood sweetheart blames me for costing him the love of his life. "If it weren't for you, Yaya would have married me. He tied me up on the rooftop. I'm going to make you feel Yaya's pain." I begged him desperately to let me go, but he pushed me over the edge. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day of the college entrance exam. The agony of being dashed to death jolted me awake. Fu-chun before me was agitated, his voice rising as he berated me. "Song Yan, do you have any compassion at all? Yaya has depression. If she jumps because she can't see a way out, can you take responsibility for that?" Zhang, Fu-chun's close friend, sneered and cursed. "I think you're just jealous. You know perfectly well that my brother Chun likes Chi-yu. Not only do you keep them apart every day under the pretense of studying, but now, right before the college entrance exams, you're still trying to stop them. Thanks to you, my brother Chun got the second highest score in the grade on every subject's mock exam. There's more than enough time to go save Chi-yu and come back. Do you just want Chi-yu to fall off the roof and die, so you can stay by brother Chun's side?" The look Fu-chun gave me was filled with hatred, as if he were looking at an enemy. A chill crept up from the soles of my feet, and in an instant, my scalp went numb. Fu-chun and I both came from a poor, remote mountain village. Even the money for high school was scraped together, coin by coin, by the whole village. I knew deep down that this college entrance exam was our one and only shot at changing our fate. The village would never fund us for another year of study. If I fail this exam, my only option is to return to the village and work on construction sites with everyone else. Changing my fate is the most important thing in my life. This kind of extravagant romance means less to me than a couple of extra steamed buns. I stopped Chi-yu from hanging out with Fu-chun. It's because Fu-chun skipped class to go out and play, neglecting his studies. What did I do wrong? I just want Fu-chun to get into a good university. Let's not let down the support from everyone in the village, young and old, so much so that, in my previous life, I heard there were less than 30 minutes until the exam started. When Fu-chun was going to the rooftop of the 52nd floor, over 10 kilometers away, to save Chi-yu, I thought he was out of his mind too. Call the police. Wouldn't sending the police to rescue Chi-yu be much faster than him going? If he misses the college entrance exam, he'll end up like my dad, swing a sledgehammer on a construction site for the rest of your life. I dragged him with all my might, pulling him into the exam hall to take the test. Both he and I got into Tsinghua and Peking University as we had hoped. Zhang got into a junior college, and we all have a bright future ahead. But of all things, because he failed to rescue Chi-yu in time, she was persuaded by a handsome, tall firefighter. She came down from the rooftop, only to fall in love with the firefighter who saved her. She cut off all contact with him. Fu-chun lost the love of his life, and he blames me for all of it. He pushed me off the top of a building. When the police took Fu-chun away, Zhang was still defending him. What do any of you know? The college entrance exam happens every year, but he lost the woman he loved most. If it weren't for Song Yen, Chi wouldn't have married someone else. Fu-chun, don't be afraid. In 18 years, you'll be a hero again. We'll still be good brothers when you get out. Netizens were all rallying to Fu-chun's defense. She only lost her life, but the poor guy lost the love of his life. Because of her interference, the guy had to stand by and watch as his girlfriend pledged herself to, and married, the man who saved her. How heartbreaking that must have been. Zhang even rode the wave of this tragic love story to become a major internet celebrity, and my death, it just became something they said I had coming to me. How ironic. After a brush with death, I stopped trying to hold him back, nodded with a smile. Makes sense. Go ahead. The college entrance exam comes every year, but lost love is gone for good, too. Fu-chun beamed with a smile and declared earnestly, "Don't worry, Song Yen, the rooftop where Chi-yu is less than 10 kilometers from here. I'll go save Chi-yu and come right back. I'll make it in time. You're not allowed to tell the village chief or anyone else, or you'll regret it. Our high school isn't even ranked in the city, so what if I got second in the grade on the mock exam?" The college entrance exam is a cutthroat competition for the entire nation's students, not just a single school. Even Fu-chun himself knew it. How absurd it was to run off to save someone right before the college entrance exam. He didn't dare let the village chief and the others find out. Yet, blinded by overconfidence, he thought he could make the round trip and still be on time, but he forgot how severe the traffic gets on National College Entrance Exam Day. No one is allowed to enter the exam hall 15 minutes after the test begins. There are now less than 30 minutes until the exam starts. It's a 10-kilometer round trip with no transportation, Waiting for the elevator takes time, and persuading Chiyu to come down takes time too. Where would he find that much time to waste? I nodded. Where would I get a phone? Even if I wanted to tell on you, I couldn't. Go ahead, I'm heading into the exam hall. Zhang Zhang chimed in from the side. Brother Chen, take my phone, go save Chiyu. I'll wait for you inside the exam hall and scout the way first. 3. Without another thought, Fu Chen grabbed Zhang Zhang's phone and dashed out. While running, he sent a voice message to Chiyu. Yeah, wait for me. I'll be right there. Countless examinees were heading towards the examination hall. Fu Chen alone was walking in the opposite direction, against the flow of the crowd. I knew with perfect clarity. From this moment on, our lives diverged onto two separate paths. What truly surprised me, however, that bootlicker Zhang Zhang, he actually didn't go with him to rescue Chiyu. Whether they were skipping class or sneaking off to meet Chiyu, the two of them were always together. Zhang Zhang entered the exam hall with me, then suddenly turned and grinned in my direction. I thought for sure you'd stop that idiot from trying to save Chiyu. You disgust me, just like Fu Chen does. Zhang Zhang's words made me freeze on the spot. I asked him, my voice laced with disbelief, What do you mean by that? It was as if a bizarre thread in my mind suddenly connected all the inexplicable events in that instant. They became a couple. One evening, Fu Chen skipped class and rescued Chiyu, who was being harassed by some thugs. It was love at first sight, and they started going out together often. Zhang Zhang would always cover for Fu Chen and often tried to talk me into skipping class too. All I care about is studying, and I even try to talk them out of skipping class. Every time this happens, they'd all give me the same mocking look. Come on, don't hang out with that nerd. All she knows how to do is study. She acts like such a mom already, even worse than my own. Let's go have fun without her. To get Chiyu and Fu Chen together, Zhang Zhang even sacrificed his Nokia. They often chatted on QQ during class. Zhang Zhang suddenly burst out laughing, drawing the attention of everyone around. You don't actually think Fu Chen can make it back in time, do you? I was the one who leaked the answers to his practice exams ahead of time. That idiot still thinks he's clever. No wonder Fu Chen could skip class and play on his phone during lectures, yet still consistently rank second. So that's how it was. I looked at Zhang Zhang with disbelief. He on purpose, for Zhang Zhang seemed thrilled when he saw my expression. Didn't see that coming, did you? The old man never stops going on about how brilliant you two are, with your top grades. I can't wait to see what happens if his two prized students both fail the exam. What kind of face do you think he'll make? Zhang Zhang's father was our homeroom teacher in high school. He often gave Fu Chen and me extra tutoring, keeping us at his house for lessons on weekends. I heard the homeroom teacher scold Zhang Zhang more than once. You're not naturally bright, and you don't even work hard. If you had even half the smarts those two have, I'd be content. You two are definitely going to make the first tier cutoff. Don't be afraid to aim high when filling out your applications. As for you, Xiao Zhang, if you even manage to scrape past the third tier line, I'll consider it a miracle from my ancestors. I just thought it was all in good fun and didn't take it to heart. Little did I know Zhang Zhang would want to ruin us over these few words. It was a bright, sunny day, yet I felt a chill run down my spine. I never imagined that a classmate we went to school and played with every day could harbor such malicious intent. 5. Zhang Zhang seemed quite pleased with my reaction and pressed on, trying to provoke me further. You know your old man swings a sledgehammer on the construction site. But do you know what your dear mother does there? Your dad sells his muscle, and your mom sells hers too. The only difference is, she sells it on someone else's body. I've been there too, you know. Your mom has a red mole on her inner thigh, right? You know what? That skill is clearly the result of years of dedicated practice. If you don't get in, you can always just go back and take over your mom's business. I'll be sure to patronize your establishment. Haha. He raised his hand, trying to touch my face. What? You think someone like you could actually get into college? Someone like you is only good for selling yourself. You, listening to his filthy words, I wanted nothing more than to slap him across the face. I forced myself to calm down. He's just trying to distract me and mess with my head, so I'll fail to get into university. I won't let him succeed. I took a deep breath to calm my turbulent emotions. I forcefully suppressed the anger in my heart. I stopped engaging with him. I knew all too well that the more you engage with someone like that, the more they escalate. He knew he couldn't get a good score. He just wanted to drag everyone around him down to his level. Yet every single one of his actions pointed to one thing: he was jealous. 6. The bell rang, signaling the start of the exam. I took a deep breath, clearing my mind of all distractions. I focused all my attention on the test paper. After the last exam, I carefully reviewed all the questions I got wrong. As a result, during this test, my pen seemed guided by divine inspiration. I knew the answer to every single question. Suddenly, a clamor of noise came from outside the window. Many people turned to look, But I alone kept on filling out my exam paper outside the door. Fu Chen's voice rang out, filled with helplessness and terror. I'm an examinee. I'm only a little late. Please, I'm begging you, let me in. I was trying to save someone. If you don't believe me, ask the police. They're the ones who brought me here. The invigilator stopped him. No, you can't. It's been over 20 minutes since the exam started. You cannot enter now. Try again next year. The sound of Fu Chen's heart-wrenching sobs filled the air. Chiyu tried to console him from the side. If they won't let you take the exam, then don't. I never even went to high school, and I've managed just fine. What's the big deal? Did you really think a golden phoenix could rise from a small, backwater place like ours? If you want to study, we can just repeat the year next time. Making such a scene here, crying and carrying on, it's so embarrassing. Fu Chen's voice carried a bleak, deathly sorrow. It's over, everything's over. My parents are going to kill me. Repeat the year, where would I even get the chance to do that? Up on the podium, the invigilator rapped on the desk. No distractions, everyone, focus on your own papers. 7. After learning of Zhang Zhang's malicious intentions, and then there's what happened to Fu Chen today. I suspect they'll do exactly what they did in my past life. They'll pin all the blame on me. I went to the city to take the college entrance exams, with no parents or family around. Besides, I don't even have a phone. They can't reach me anyway. I can't take that risk. What if Fu Chen, egged on by Zhang Zhang, if I do something stupid, it could ruin my entire life, like crippling my hands or tying me up so I miss the exam. After facing life and death, I prepared for the worst in every possible way. I can't afford to take any risks just in case something goes wrong. I'll be spending the night at the police station near the exam venue, sleeping on the metal chairs at the police station. Uncle Lu, the police station chief, learned that I was a student taking the national college entrance exam and had come all the way from a poor mountain village by myself. He offered to pay out of his own pocket for me to stay at a hotel. I politely declined. I wouldn't dare sleep alone outside, but here I feel safe and at ease. Uncle Chief, I'll just sleep here for the night. I promise I won't disturb anyone. Chief Lu let out a long sigh. You won't get any proper rest sleeping here. We have a spare room inside. You can rest there for a while. Eat your meal first. Do your best tomorrow. And good luck on the exam. Director Lu brought me a lunchbox, and it even had greens and meat. I usually can't even get a piece of meat once a week. Thanks, Uncle Lu. Uncle Lu, can I make a phone call too, please? Director Lu was kind and gentle. He smiled and patted my head. So you're calling your parents to let them know you're safe? Go ahead, make the call. I dialed the number, but I didn't call my parents. 8. Meanwhile, Fu Chen and Zhang Zhang were searching for me everywhere. Brother Chen, Song Yan admitted it herself. She just didn't want you to take the college entrance exam. She said your village is poor and can't afford to send 2 students to university. Supporting just her is already a stretch. You're more talented than Song Yan anyway. She must have been jealous of you for a long time. Otherwise, think about it. She always stopped you from hanging out with Chiyu before. Why is she being so agreeable this time, letting you go find her? She's so good at math. She must have calculated that you wouldn't have enough time to make the round trip. I wanted to stall for you, but the proctor told me to hurry into the classroom. I'm sorry I couldn't wait for you. Chiyu also apologized from the side. Chun, I'm sorry. She told me that if I could just stop you from taking the college entrance exam, you'd stay with me forever. I just loved you too much. I couldn't bear the thought of losing you. If I had known how important the exam was, I would never have done it. It was all Song Yan. She made me do it. She just wants to steal your spot as the top scorer in the Gaokao. Fu Chen's eyes were bloodshot with rage. He clenched his fists and glared fiercely in the direction of the examination hall. Song Yan, how dare you scheme against me like this? You'd better hope I don't find you. Fu Chen was unaware. In the corners he could not see. Chiyu's gaze at Zhang Zhang was brimming with affection, so tender and ambiguous it could pull threads. A mocking curve lifted the corner of Zhang Zhang's mouth, his slightly narrowed eyes revealing a ruthless intent. He brought it up as if by chance. If Song Yan were gone, no one would go back to your village spreading rumors. Fu Chen lowered his head, chewing over Zhang Zhang's words, muttering them to himself several times. Suddenly, he looked up, his previously vacant gaze snapping into sharp focus. Yes, if Song Yan were gone. 9. I went to the exam hall with Uncle Lu and the others. The main strategy was to stick close to the big shots for safety. No one gives me a sense of security like a police officer. At the entrance to the examination hall, I saw Fu Chen and the other 2. Fu Chen, his face dark, called to me with his hands clasped behind his back. Song Yan, come here. Chiyu, standing nearby with a beaming smile, said, Yan Yan, where did you run off to last night? Chen was so worried about you that he couldn't sleep all night. There were still faint red marks on Chiyu's neck. I became even more cautious. Could it be that last night, when Fu Chen couldn't find me, he took his anger out on Chiyu? Zhang Zhang was just standing there, pretending to be the good guy. Yeah, we were looking for you all last night. My dad told me to look after both of you. You could have at least let us know if you weren't coming back to sleep. Murmurs and whispers rose from the people around them. What's a young woman doing out alone so late at night instead of going back with her classmates? She's not fooling around with some guy, is she? Tisk, why is someone like her even taking the college entrance exam? What a waste of state resources. Uncle Lou, having worked at the police station for decades, could tell something was off at a glance. He immediately grabbed my arm. Don't go over there, kid. He grabbed his baton and started walking towards Fu Chen, shouting as he went, put your hands up. Seeing this, the other officers also moved in, the onlookers behind Fu Chen suddenly shouted, a knife, he's got a knife. 10. Uncle Lou reacted swiftly, pinning Fu Chen to the ground. Zhang Zhang and Chiyu were also immediately restrained. Fu Chen struggled desperately, glaring at me with fierce hatred. Song Yen, this is all your fault, you ruined me, I'll kill you. Uncle Lou pressed his head to the ground and shouted, calm down. When Zhang Zhang was restrained, he remained silent. It was Chiyu who cried out in protest, shouting that she was innocent, trying to incite the crowd. Why are you arresting me? I haven't done anything. Why aren't you arresting Song Yen? If she hadn't egged me on to fake a suicide yesterday to trick Chen into leaving, Chen wouldn't have missed the exam. She didn't dare come back yesterday because she had a guilty conscience, afraid of being exposed. I actually have a lot of respect for Zhang Zhang playing the innocent lamb in public, but throwing punches behind closed doors, using Chiyu as a pawn to pin all the blame on me. So, in my past life, when Fu Chen pushed me off that high-rise, Zhang Zhang must have been egging him on. 11. What good would it do me if he couldn't take the college entrance exam? I'm sure some of the aunties and uncles heard me trying to stop Fu Chen from going yesterday, right? Outside the exam hall, many parents had come to see their children off. It was the same group both yesterday and today. Someone must have overheard. What did he say to me back then, and how did Zhang egg him on? I walked step by step until I stood before Fu Chen. She lowered her head, cast her eyes down, and looked at him. She questioned him, word by deliberate word. Fu Chen, think carefully. Chiyu and I have never gotten along. Would she really listen to me and do something like this? Chiyu's rivalry and animosity were out in the open, never held back. Back then, my mind was completely occupied with studying. Even though I was fully aware of her disdain, I simply didn't care. It's not that I'm some magnanimous saint. It's just that arguing with her would have been a waste of my time, and yet, Fu Chen was so quick to believe what they said. They must have given reasons I'm not aware of, but in the end, it all boils down to them badmouthing me. Would I really scheme against you for the reasons she gave? Fu Chen struggled in Uncle Lou's grip like a hard-to-restrain hog. Upon hearing my words, he instantly stopped struggling and sank into deep thought. 12. Oh, officer, there must be some misunderstanding here. They have their college entrance exams today. The homeroom teacher's exclamation came from behind the crowd. He rushed over on his bicycle, briefcase tucked under his arm, not even bothering to put down the kickstand. I didn't call my parents or the village chief with that phone call. Instead, I called Mr. Zhang directly. I told him the whole story from start to finish. The parents watching immediately said, he pulled out a knife. What possible misunderstanding could there be? Officer, you have to take him away. What if he goes crazy and hurts my daughter? Yeah, exactly. What if he hurts someone? Everyone has to take the college entrance exam today. If I'm not mistaken, it was Zhang Zhang who suggested blocking me at the exam hall entrance. They probably just want to use public opinion to pin all the blame on me. If Uncle Lou and the others weren't here today, if I hadn't gone through that life and death experience, if I were still as gullible as an ox and trusted them, Fu Chen would stab me to death. And then, thanks to Zhang Zhang's boasting, I'd be painted as someone who got exactly what they deserved. A classic case of reaping what you sow. Fu Chen gets locked up in jail, while I meet a tragic end, dying right there in the examination hall. Even if I survived, according to victim-blaming logic, why would he stab you and not someone else? It's all because you stopped him from taking the college entrance exam and sent him to rescue people. Even if he survives, he'll be skinned alive yet. The real villain, Zhang Zhang, remains perfectly hidden, watching everything unfold from behind the scenes. It wouldn't implicate him in the slightest. He could keep taking the college entrance exams, keep being the good son he just never expected. His most feared father would show up here. The public opinion he's prepared to use against me will backfire on him, disregarding our master-disciple bond. I immediately raised my voice and said, what misunderstanding could there possibly be, Mr. Zhang? You've come at just the right time. Yesterday, Chiyu threatened to jump off the XX rooftop 30 minutes before the exam started. Fu Chun went to save her, got delayed, arrived late, and missed the exam. As soon as I entered the exam hall, Zhang Zhang started making crude jokes about me and my mother. He said he was going to make sure neither of us could take the college entrance exam. He wants to make all your effort worthless. And he even said that for every student you tutor from now on, he'll ruin 1. 13. The onlookers erupted in an uproar. Zhang Zhang, humiliated and enraged, lashed out at me with furious insults. You bitch, shut up, shut the hell up. Upon hearing this, Teacher Zhang was left utterly stunned, frozen in place. I thought I was prepared for it, but I never imagined my own son would do something like this. Zhang Zhang had been raised under the strict, rod-wielding discipline of Teacher Zhang. His tearful, desperate denial was almost a conditioned reflex. Dad, I didn't do it. Don't listen to that bitch's lies. As soon as Mr. Zhang realized what had happened, he grabbed his bag and swung it at Zhang Zhang. I'll beat you to death, you animal. How could you do something like this? It looked like a beating, but I could tell he wasn't putting much force behind it. Instead, he shielded Zhang Zhang beneath his own body. Outside the examination hall, chaos erupted. Uncle Lu was worried that causing a blockage here would create a bad impression. He immediately handed Fu Chun over for others to restrain, and in one swift motion, he seized Teacher Zhang by the arm. Stop fighting, you're disturbing the other examinees, let's take this somewhere else. I stood motionless at the entrance to the examination hall. Nothing in the world is more important than my college entrance exams. Not far away, Teacher Zhang was bowing and scraping to Uncle Lu, while pointing at Zhang Zhang and saying something. I faintly heard him mention something about a guarantee and taking the college entrance exam. I was too far away to hear him clearly. With permission to enter the exam hall granted, I quickly walked in and found my seat. The exam had just begun when I noticed someone in the corridor outside the window. I saw Zhang Zhang. He made a throat-slitting gesture at me. 14. After finishing the exam, I didn't hand it in early and leave. He only came out with everyone else when the bell rang. Fu Chun is impulsive and acts the moment someone eggs him on, but Zhang Zhang is different. He's like a snake hiding in the shadows, striking when you least expect it. He backs down in a crowd but gets bold when he's outnumbered. Just as I thought, with so many people around, I couldn't spot Zhang Zhang anywhere. As I followed the crowd to the main entrance, I saw my parents and the village chief. My father and mother's clothes were covered in dust, and their hands were badly chapped. He must have rushed over from the construction site as soon as he heard the news. I don't believe a single word of Zhang Zhang's slander against my mother. My mom is incredibly hardworking and strong. She can handle any job my dad can do. People used to tease me about it. Forget about school. While you're still young, go be some coal tycoon's mistress. You'll make more money than any degree could ever get you. Ma didn't just give them a piece of her mind. She gave me a lesson, too. No matter how tough or exhausting life gets, you never sell your own body. Don't listen to those gossiping busybodies. You focus on your studies, get yourself to the big city, and land a cushy office job with air conditioning. Don't end up like me and your dad, stuck doing this backbreaking work on a construction site. The village chief was getting on in years. I remember him telling us this back when I first started school. You kids need to study hard, get yourselves an education, and make it out of here. Only by getting out and making something of yourselves can you earn enough to come back and help everyone in our village leave this place behind. He spent most of his life in the mountains, and all he ever wanted was for everyone to have a better life. He wanted us young ones to go out into the world and bring everyone along with us, getting a second chance at life. It's so good to see them. It's good to be alive. 15. At the police station, I saw Fu Chun's parents. Fu Chun was detained on the spot for the egregious act of intentional, premeditated murder with a weapon outside the examination hall. Thanks to a guarantee from Teacher Zhang, Zhang Zhang is permitted to take the exams today and tomorrow. It was a separate exam, with police officers stationed at the door. After the exam, he was immediately detained at the police station to give a statement. Logically, this had nothing to do with Zhang Zhang, since he hadn't touched anything, but Fu Chun insisted it was Zhang Zhang who put him up to it. What was even more surprising was that's what Fu Chun said. Chiyu was the first to lose her composure, rushing forward to lash out at Fu Chun. No, you're wrong about Zhang Zhang. He didn't do it. You did everything yourself, officer. I want to file a report. The reason I tried to kill myself back then was because he hurt me. Fu Chun was stunned on the spot, staring at Chiyu in disbelief. You said you loved me, that you wanted to be with me. Chiyu's face was a mask of unconcealed disgust. Who could ever like a nerd like you? You're poor and pathetic. Just the sight of you makes me sick to my stomach. Fu Chun's parents had spent their entire lives farming in the mountains. It was the first time I'd encountered a situation like this, and I had no idea what to do. The village chief, leaning on his cane, cursed angrily. You disgrace, you've shamed our entire village. As Fu Chen was being taken to the detention center, he passed right by me. He paused mid-step and turned to look at me. If I had listened to you back then, if I hadn't gone to save Chiyu, could I have taken the college entrance exam too? I'm sorry, I never imagined they could be so vile. They want to ruin us. Good thing you didn't take the bait. I couldn't help but cut him off. Shut up, Fu Chen, you can't blame anyone else. You only have yourself to blame. You let your lust cloud your judgment, thinking with your little head instead of your big one. If you had listened to me and broken up with Chiyu, won't you end up holding a grudge against me? Fu Chen desperately tried to explain. No, I could never hurt you, no matter what. The lessons of the past were still fresh in his mind. His tears and remorse now are nothing but a reaction to learning the consequences he must face. It's no better than crocodile tears. Song Yen, I was wrong. I was truly wrong. Go on, repent. You can do all your repenting in prison. 16. The immediate threat to my personal safety has been lifted to help me focus on my exams. Mom and Dad rented a hotel room near the test center for 50 yuan, also I could get a proper night's rest. When they found out I'd spent the night at the police station, they even went with the village chief to express their thanks. I don't know how much that boxed lunch cost, but my dad tried to give Director Lu 15 yuan for it. Director Lu wouldn't take it. Absolutely not. That would be asking us to break the rules. It's just a boxed lunch. It won't cost much. Dad couldn't find the words, but he was strong. He just kept trying to stuff the money into Director Lu's pocket. I grabbed Dad's hand to stop him. Thank you so much, Uncle Lu. Mr. Zhang hadn't slept a wink all night and looked utterly haggard. He didn't even say a single word to me. Accompanied by my parents and the village chief, I entered the examination hall to finish my final day of tests when Zhang was taken away by the police. The look Mr. Zhang gave me was filled with pure resentment. If you had just told me earlier, things would never have gotten this bad. I spent my own time teaching you all, and this is the thanks I get. To repay kindness with betrayal. Song Yen, you'll get what's coming to you. 17. I know it. From this moment on, the bond of gratitude between me and teacher Zhang is severed for good, but I have no intention of forgiving Zhang or writing a letter of leniency. If it weren't for Director Lu and the officer's quick response, I would have been brutally murdered by Fu Chen's blade. We're all adults now, and we have to take responsibility for our own mistakes. As the victim, Chiyu was not detained. She ran around everywhere for Zhang, trying to pull strings and grease the wheels. She didn't find any useful connections, but she did get taken advantage of by a few small-time thugs with a bit of pull. He went around town bragging about it, and his reputation was ruined overnight. After blaming me, teacher Zhang turned and blamed her too. It was only then that I found out Zhang and Chiyu were middle school classmates. They were the real couple. It's just that Mr. Zhang and the others didn't agree. That's why we had to force Zhang to hang out with us. 18. While waiting for the college admission letter, I worked alongside my dad and mom on the construction site, hauling bricks to earn my school fees. Dad swung the sledgehammer. Mom carried the broken wall sections down from the upper floors, load by load, balanced on a shoulder pole. I helped with the carrying, and by the end of the day, my shoulders were red and swollen when sweat soaked in. It stung like salt in a wound. For me, it was just a summer job. For my mother, it was just another day in her life. The carrying pole had worn calluses on my shoulders. If you don't endure the hardship of study, you'll endure the hardship of life. Words heard 1,000 times are never as real as a single first-hand experience. Mom mistakenly thought I was worried about failing the exam and comforted me softly. Don't be afraid. If you don't get in this time, we'll just repeat the year. Your dad and I have talked it over. For this extra year of study, your grandma and we have managed to save up a bit for the tuition. When the time comes, we won't need the village's money anymore. Fu Chen was sent away, and his parents have been running around everywhere because of his situation. There's been some nasty gossip in the village, all saying I'm the one who ruined Fu Chen. I know, but mom and dad didn't want me to know. I could only pretend to be unaware. It wasn't until the college acceptance letter arrived, all the gossip and rumors vanished in an instant. The village chief directly removed Fu Chen's name from the clan registry. His story was also held up in the village as a cautionary tale. The village invested in your education so you could make something of yourselves, so that in the future, you can repay the village and lead everyone to prosperity and a moderately well-off life. Some villagers, driven by selfishness, nearly caused the village to suffer a tremendous loss. We lost the village's first ever top scorer in the national college entrance exam. I scored 745 points and became the top scorer in the national college entrance exam. 19. The day I returned to the village, arriving even faster than the admission letter, were the top universities and media outlets from the capital. Even high-ranking officials came rushing over, one after another. Hey, check out our school. tuition, room, and board are all free. Hey, look at our university, we cover all tuition, housing, and meals, plus there's a 10,000 yuan scholarship every semester. In my past life, I didn't get such a high score on the exam. I barely scraped past the admission cutoff for Tsinghua and Peking University. After the exam, I carefully copied down all the questions I got wrong. At the time, I just wanted to make sure I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. Little did I know I did so well this time around. When my boss asked if I was facing any difficulties, I described the situation in our village in detail. Our village is small, with no primary school. To get an education, the children have to cycle over 20 kilometers to the nearest large village. The mountain roads are rugged, there isn't even a single smooth path. To prosper, we must first build roads and establish a primary school so children of the right age can attend. In front of the media, the leaders readily agreed. They even awarded me a consolation payment and a commendatory banner. In the end, I applied for the finance major at Tsinghua and Peking University. 20. When school started, Dad and Mom personally saw me off on the train. I overheard Mom gossiping about the village. Fu Chun and Fu Chun were sentenced. Teacher Zhang resigned and has been running around everywhere for Zhang. Qiyu was pregnant, but she didn't know who the father of the child was. Her family took her to a small clinic to have the pregnancy terminated. The news spread like wildfire, and her reputation was already ruined. But in any case, all of it has nothing to do with me anymore. As the train came to a halt, I stepped onto the soil of the capital city. I couldn't help but be stunned by its prosperity. The capital I had read about countless times in textbooks. It was truly right before my eyes. The century-old treasures of Peking and Tsinghua universities gather the nation's top talents here. All my ambition, in that instant, could no longer be contained. Yet I was acutely aware of my own shortcomings, my own dullness. So, during those university years, I poured all my energy into studying and competitions. I diligently and earnestly completed every assignment my mentor gave me. I'm not sure if it was just good luck. In my junior year, on my advisor's recommendation, I joined a top-tier venture capital firm in the city. Coincidentally, the project team I was assigned to had set its sights on the tourism industry. 21. Life in the big city is stressful. Everyone wants to get back to nature, natural mountain and forest scenery, ideally at an eco-resort. I recommended our village at the meeting. The local customs are simple and honest, rich with ethnic character. You can also hike to pick wild mushrooms, wade in the river to catch small fish. It's an eco-friendly resort. I worked through the night to prepare a project proposal. The leadership found it quite intriguing. Meanwhile, tourism boards across the country are actively promoting their local travel industries. The company decided to conduct a site visit first before making a decision. I called home ahead of time to ask the village chief and town officials to arrange for a proper reception. If it works out, then Mom and Dad wouldn't have to go work on those faraway construction sites, and no one would have to go work on assembly lines in factories down south. There wouldn't be so many left behind children in the village. When the time comes, we could set up a little stall by the door to sell drinks and snacks to tourists. Everyone can come back and help build our village into an even better place. It's just that it goes against the village chief's wish for everyone to go out and seek opportunities. Instead, it's about bringing everyone back home, where they can earn a good living right on their doorstep. 22. After returning to the village, my old classmates held a reunion. It was only then, from their conversation, that I learned something. Fu Chun had been sentenced to death due to his good behavior inside. He was released early, yet after his release, he showed no signs of repentance. Instead, he tracked down Qiyu. By then, Qiyu was already married to another man, 8 months pregnant with their child. Upon seeing her, Fu Chun stabbed her to death without a word. You ruined my entire life. How dare you get to live happily ever after? Didn't you say you loved me? Then come down to hell with me and be my partner in crime for eternity. Not content with killing Qiyu, Fu Chun fled to teacher Zhang's house. He then proceeded to stab teacher Zhang and his wife to death. Mr. Zhang, I really was grateful to you before. But why did your son have to ruin me? The one he hates is you, isn't it? If you hadn't scolded and beaten him every day, why would he blame it all on me? You deserve to die too. After Fu Chun stabbed teacher Zhang and his wife to death, he then called the police himself and turned himself in. While in prison, he also used a hidden piece of dental floss to strangle Zhang. Since you said you considered me a good brother, then come and keep me company. I can't go on living. You're all going to die with me. When Fu Chun was first imprisoned, his parents ran around frantically trying to help. Later, they heard villagers gossiping, saying things like, once you come out of prison, you're ruined for life. By the time they returned to the village, their youngest son was already walking. 23. The project was ultimately funded by the company, which signed a contract with the authorities. I was responsible for negotiating with the villagers. And finalizing the contract, using our village as the starting point, we will expand outward to build an immersive, ancient-style NPC resort. All villagers receive a salary and serve as NPCs to entertain visiting tourists. The ancient town has a special currency exclusive to visitors. Experience the authentic life of a historic village, with occasional bonus rewards. All modifications are implemented without disrupting the lives of the original residents. Many villagers who worked away from home are now returning. They can take care of their families and children while also earning a wage. Moreover, we have set up sales points where they can sell agricultural products and byproducts. This new concept resort hasn't even opened yet thanks to the promotion by influencers. It went viral overnight. It not only attracted a huge influx of tourists but also earned praise from state media. Dad and Mom have also returned from the construction site. They've taken on roles as construction worker NPCs in the village, trading their heavy sledgehammers for props. They wander around the village every day with a sledgehammer, and tourists stop them. They then take the tourists to a safe construction site to experience a day labor game, earning meal tokens for the day. There are also various worker experience activities, such as laundry work, kitchen maid duties, and sweeping. Daily rewards and coins are randomly dropped. The villagers all said, people from the big cities are here to enjoy life. Why on earth would they come to work? To everyone's surprise, as soon as it opened, the tourists snatched up all the jobs meant for the villagers. The most popular feature was the mysterious Village Chief NPC management system, which allowed players to reassign NPC roles at will. The village chief, who just stepped out and had his quest card snatched, peanuts, give me peanuts. The village children had it the worst. After school, they would normally herd cattle on the hillsides, take the ducks out, and feed the chickens, or go up the mountain to cut pigweed. Now, players have taken over all of it. Village folklore. The kids whose quests were stolen have to do homework. A tourist encounters a little NPC who wandered off to play. Rushing home to do homework earns 1 gold coin. In an instant, the children embarked on a nightmare journey. They couldn't play for more than 2 minutes before being sweet-talked and tricked into going home by the tourists. In less than a year, our village leaped from a nationally recognized impoverished mountain village into moderate prosperity. The village chief's lifelong dream of achieving a moderately prosperous life was finally realized this year. After the project was completed, I resigned from the enviable job that many people dream of. I returned to our city and became a cultural and tourism ambassador. Not only do I attract tourists on the platform, but I also sell various agricultural products and local specialties. The road to poverty alleviation is long and arduous. I believe that one day, everyone will achieve a moderately prosperous life. 24. When Fu Chun was executed, he requested to see me, separated by a set of iron bars. Our lives could not have been more different. His head was shaved, his gaze vacant and dull. When he saw me, his eyes grew slightly moist, and he let out a sigh that seemed both bitter and self-mocking. You're here. I looked at him, saying nothing. He spoke, almost to himself. I saw you on TV. When I first got to prison, I had a dream. I dreamed I had finished the Gaokao. But then, at Zhang's urging, I pushed you off the rooftop. After I was caught, Zhang came to see me. He said I deserved it, that it was all a trap he had set. He just wanted to destroy both of us. Chiyu is his woman. He was the one who had Chiyu stay by my side, to drive a wedge between us. I said, perhaps it wasn't a dream. Fu Chen chuckled again, as if he had known something all along. He continued on his own. Last night, I had another dream. I dreamed that I never met Zhang, nor did I meet Chiyu. It was just the two of us. We studied together, got into university together, stayed in the capital to marry and start a family, and had 2 sons of our own. Song Yen, if there is a next life, would you be willing to? Her lifeless eyes slowly lifted with hope, glistening with tears as she looked at me expectantly. I gave a bitter, mocking smile. If there is a next life, I hope we never meet. I have no words of comfort for you. Your heart is wicked, even without Zhang and Chiyu. We were never meant to walk the same path. Going our separate ways was inevitable. Don't blame anyone for your fate. You have only yourself to blame. Fu Chun, rest in peace. If there is a next life, let us be strangers. But you will have no next life. With a life of wicked thoughts, you are destined for hell. With those words, I stood up and walked outside the prison. The sun was shining brightly. A gunshot rang out from behind, startling a flurry of birds into flight across the mountainside. After a long while, all returned to a profound and utter silence. The end. Story 2. My husband has a French translator by his side, and they are extremely close, practically inseparable. Sometimes, they even share a hotel room when traveling for work. This really bothers me, he snapped impatiently. Suyu's job requires her to be with me at all times. What are you imagining? A filthy mind sees filth everywhere. I think I'm being overly sensitive too, until one day So you said to my husband in French right in front of me, "You're not going to spend the evening with that old woman again, are you?" Fu Jingchu replied to her, "Of course not, sweetheart. I had to make up an excuse to fool her so I could spend the evening with you." At that moment, they all thought I couldn't understand French. Hello everyone, and welcome to Takata Novel Club. Today, I'd like to share an interesting new story with you all. As I passed by the living room, Suyu glanced up at me. She gave me a sweet smile and said, "Thanks for the tea, Jingwei, it's delicious." Fu Jingchu was sitting nearby, busy with work. They avoided going into the study together to prevent any gossip, because we argued last time about why a man and a woman alone in a study needed to lock the door. Fu Jingchu said impatiently, "We're just busy with work. Do you always have to make such a scene?" Because things got really unpleasant last time. After that, whenever he brought Suyu home, they would basically stay in the living room to show there was nothing going on between them. I stopped complaining and tried my best not to disturb their work. After all, there wasn't much I could do to help. "Your wife is so annoying," Suyu said, rolling her eyes. The moment I turned my back, the girl who had just praised my tea suddenly showed a completely different side of herself. She pouted at Fu Jingchu. "Do you really have to work in the living room? Your wife is such a nuisance, we can't do anything." With her around, Fu Jingchu snorted coldly, "Watch your mouth. What are you afraid of? Your wife doesn't understand French." Suyu's expression was full of disdain, and she deliberately emphasized her words. I was watering the flowers at the time, and when I heard those words, I froze for a moment. "You're not going to spend the evening with that old woman again, are you?" Suyu pouted and tugged at his sleeve, and when I heard Suyu's description of me, my mind went blank. "An old woman, are you talking about me?" Fu Jingchu and I have been together since we were 19, a whole decade has passed. Compared to Suyu, who just graduated, I'm certainly not as young as she is. "I just bought some new lingerie, don't you like it?" Suyu coquettishly pouted in front of him, her voice soft and sweet. Fu Jingchu, who had been serious just a moment ago, now raised an eyebrow and coaxed her, "Of course I do, baby. I just need to make up an excuse to ditch her so I can spend the evening with you." They just stood there before me, pouring their hearts out in French. My breath caught in my throat. In the process, I knocked over a flower pot, spilling soil everywhere. Hearing the commotion on the balcony, Fu Jingchu rushed over. "Honey, are you okay?" He looked at me with concern, as if afraid I might be hurt. I shook my head and forced a faint smile. "I'm fine, that's good, don't worry about this stuff, go get some rest." Fu Jingchu's gaze briefly met Suyu's before settling back on me. "Honey, there's something I need to talk to you about. I know I promised to stay home for your birthday, but a client just called an urgent meeting, Suyu, and I have to go." He said this with a cautious, careful expression, fearing I would see through the lie. He spoke with a tone of helpless regret. "Honey, I'm really sorry, this was a last-minute thing." I didn't wait for him to finish his excuse and said calmly, "It's fine, you should go." His eyes lit up. "Honey, you're so understanding. I'll make it up to you once I'm done with this, I promise." I didn't respond to him and just headed towards the restroom on my own. Yet, every single word of the conversation behind me fell clearly into my ears. Fu Jingchu said to Suyu in French, "I told you she'd believe it. No challenge at all. She's still so easy to fool." The moment the door closed, a sharp, stabbing pain flooded my chest like a snapped violin string. It shattered my resolve, and yet, in that moment, I chose not to expose his lie. I never would have imagined, in my wildest dreams, that the boy who loved me most at 19, the one who swore to the ocean that I was his one and only for life, would be flirting with another woman right in front of me. 10 years later, he was betting I'd never uncover his secret. I kept up the act perfectly. He never found out I taught myself French too. The 29th birthday I spent alone was a quiet, simple affair. Probably because I know no wish I make will ever come true. I couldn't even light the candle Suyu posted a moment on her social feed. The picture showed the silhouettes of two people in an embrace, their faces unseen but their closeness evident. The caption is in French, "What does she have that can compare to me? We're a perfect match, not just in soul, but in body too." She posts almost every one of her social media updates in French. Nobody bothers to find out what they actually say, but I understood it in an instant. Yet, I didn't confront Fu Jingchu in a hysterical rage. Instead, I quietly called my best friend. "Anran," I said, "please draft a divorce agreement for me." Fu Jingchu didn't return until the next morning. "Honey, I was just swamped last night." He handed me the gift. "But I didn't forget your birthday." "Yeah." He was so busy, too busy to even cover up the hickey on his neck. Fu Jingchu knows I'm easy to placate. I never got angry at his neglect, always lost in the depth of his affection. If we hadn't torn off this facade, we might have lived out our lives in peaceful coexistence. But I'm tired. I'm done pretending it doesn't matter, swallowing my tears and my hurt. That's why I didn't accept the gift. In the past, I would get upset when he didn't make my birthday feel special. Now, I wouldn't even care if he forgot it completely. I'm just numb to it all. Honey, where are you going? Let me give you a ride. Perhaps noticing the look on my face wasn't quite right, he offered to drive me again, but the moment I opened the car door, I spotted a condom under the seat. I was momentarily stunned. Never expecting him to be so careless, he actually let me see the evidence of his mistake with my own eyes. Fu Jingchu's panic was written all over his face. He hurriedly blocked my line of sight, saying, "Honey, the passenger seat is a bit dirty, why don't you sit in the back?" I pretended not to notice anything and obliged by taking a seat in the back. Fu Jingchu let out a barely perceptible sigh of relief, but just then, his phone suddenly rang. He instinctively glanced at me in the rearview mirror and quickly switched from Chinese to French. "What's wrong, baby? Is your wife next to you?" "Yeah, no wonder you got up so early. It was just to go be with her." "Alright, enough of that. It was her birthday yesterday. I had to go through the motions." Fu Jingchu listened to her pitiful, coquettish whining, and his heart melted. He soon laughed and said, alright, I love you the most. If I had met you first back then, she would never have been in the picture." Suyu was still unwilling to give up, making a fuss about seeing him. Her voice trembled with tears. "If you don't come, I'll never speak to you again." Fu Jingchu pulled the car over to the side of the road. After hanging up the phone, he looked at me with a face full of guilt. "I'm so sorry, honey. One of Suyu's clients has a bit of an issue. I need to go handle it." He told the lie without batting an eye. I had no idea he could put on such a convincing act about something like this. How could I not play along? A sense of bewilderment washed over me as the car vanished over the horizon. I had never seen Fu Jingchu in such a frantic state before. Even the 19-year-old version of him wouldn't have gone this far for me. All it took was a few tears from Suyu. Fu Jingchu would even run red lights to clear a path for her. I never intended to compete with her. It's just that I've chosen to let it go. Everyone knows Qing Jingwei is mild-tempered and never loses her cool, yet no one knows the stubbornness that runs in my veins. In the face of betrayal, I will never look back. 3. Jingwei, are you absolutely certain about this decision? Emran is a lawyer, well versed in the betrayals and animosities that plague marriages, yet, when it came to my situation, she seemed to hesitate. After all, you've shared 10 years together, everyone has seen how good he's been to you. Is there really no room left for discussion? She knew everything. You should have seen how utterly triumphant Fu Jingchu was when he confessed his feelings to me. The sheer, uncontainable joy of the successful proposal, followed by the spectacular grandeur of that lavish wedding. They all teased. Fu Jingchu said if he couldn't marry Qing Jingwei in this lifetime, he'd stay single forever. Jingwei, you have no idea. On the day his proposal was accepted, he was so overjoyed he even picked up a stray dog by the roadside and spun around with it 3 times. He was so excited he couldn't sleep all night, begging us to help plan the wedding, swearing he'd make you the happiest bride in the world. Thinking of that now, I smile a bitter smile. Who could have predicted what came next? It was just a long 10 years, and the love slowly faded away. He even said to me in French, without the slightest hesitation, "I've long grown tired of Qing Jingwei. She doesn't understand French anyway. Even if she did, what could she possibly do about it?" He was right. I didn't understand what he meant at the time, but the look on his face made me deeply uneasy. His smile never reached his eyes, and I knew it wasn't love. I trusted my gut, memorized that French phrase, and later looked up its meaning, yet my heart felt as if it had plunged into an icy abyss. Before I even realized it, tears had already fallen onto the paper. "Jingwei, don't cry. If he really did betray you, then leave him." Amran held my shoulders, her eyes filled with compassion. "I've never seen you shed so many tears." I looked at her with reddened eyes and said nothing, yet she understood everything. The moment I got home, Fu Jingchu's call came through. The voice that came through was Su Yu's. "Jingwei, Mr. Fu had a bit too much to drink today, so he's staying at my place." "Sweetheart, who are you calling with my phone?" Fu Jingchu asked in an intimate, suggestive tone. I didn't say a word, taking a deep, steadying breath instead. Su Yu offered a naive defense. "Jingwei, please don't get the wrong idea. I tried to send Mr. Fu home, but he absolutely refused to leave. You really shouldn't blame Mr. Fu. He needs me by his side for work constantly. After all, you're just a housewife. It's not like you could be of any help, right?" How thoughtful of her to go out of her way to remind me. Staking her claim in such a manner. In the past, I would have stormed straight to Fu Jingchu without a second thought, demanding an explanation. He'd just say I was being overly sensitive and suspicious, asking why I couldn't give him a little freedom. Now I see this happening all over again. I just smiled indifferently and said, whatever. The moment I hung up the phone, a dull ache settled in my chest. Tears fell, one after another, onto my phone screen. It felt so heavy, I could barely breathe. I could have exposed everything right to his face, yet I still couldn't bring myself to go that far with him. Making a scene would only make things worse for both of us. The love was passionate and intense, yet its ending was as bland as lukewarm water. I placed the divorce papers in the most conspicuous spot on the desk. Alongside them was a letter. I slipped away silently in the dead of night. I didn't tell a soul where I was, for the messages Fu Jingchu sent to Qing Jingwei were all perfunctory. She's been very well behaved lately, not causing any trouble at all. Sometimes he and Suyu would converse in French right in front of Qing Jingwei, and she couldn't tell what they were saying. Fu Jingchu thought she was really foolish. She had none of the sparkle she had at 19 anymore. And she wasn't as young and pretty as Suyu. He wondered how he could have ever liked someone like that. After all, she was the one he chose to marry. A deep-seated sense of responsibility wouldn't allow him to abandon her now. She was all alone in the world. Without him, she probably couldn't even survive. Fortunately, Qing Jingwei hadn't been demanding to check up on him every day like she used to. He was upset and had argued with her a few times. He noticed she had become much gentler and more understanding, not even questioning him when he stayed out all night. Recently, he used a business trip as an excuse, but in reality, he was on vacation with Suyu. Even after a week without a phone call, she didn't complain. He was quite pleased with this version of Qing Jingwei, so he decided to buy her a little gift as a reward. Suyu's eyes lit up when she saw the diamond ring. "Thank you, Jingchu. You finally bought this ring for me." But Fu Jingchu didn't hand it to her. "It's not for you." Suyu's face fell, and she pouted, "But this diamond ring is one of a kind. It represents true love. If you won't give it to me, does that mean you don't love me anymore?" Fu Jingchu suddenly turned tender. "Silly, if it represents true love, why on earth would I give it to you?" The smile instantly vanished from Suyu's lips. "I bought this for my wife. She's been so good lately. I have to reward her properly." Suyu's expression darkened the moment he mentioned Qing Jingwei this time. He didn't even take her home, but she swallowed her anger and didn't dare say a word. It was just a diamond ring. Fu Jingchu was only going to placate that foolish woman. All it took was a late-night call from her, accompanied by a few delicate, pitiful tears. Fu Jingchu would inevitably return to her side. This is what she believed. But the moment Fu Jingchu pushed open the door to his home, he was startled by the desolate atmosphere. As usual, Qing Jingwei would have already thrown herself into his arms by now if he so much as said he'd be back in the evening. No matter how late, Qing Jingwei would wait. But today, not a single light was left on for him at home. The flowers she had been tending had already withered. A divorce agreement lay quietly on the table. Nothing else. His hands trembled as he picked it up, yet he couldn't bring himself to believe it was something Qing Jingwei had left behind. Why on earth would she bring up divorce out of the blue? The moment he saw that letter, his pupils contracted sharply. It felt as if his thoughts had been struck by a thunderclap, and his face turned deathly pale, for it was a letter written in French. She meticulously translated, word for word, the love letters Fu Shangyan had once written her into French. Now, every word remained, but the world and the people in it had changed. She said nothing, and yet she said everything. Fu Shangyan felt a tremor in his heart, his footing nearly giving way beneath him. So, Qing Jingwei understood French all along. He was completely panicked. 5. I never planned on going back to my hometown, since I don't have any family left there. Human emotions are always so complicated. I had promised not to bother the Shen family again, yet in the end, it was they who took me in. Aunt Shen held my hand, her eyes gradually reddening. "It's good to have you back, Jingwei. We all miss you so much. Aunt Shen is my stepmother. My father has passed away. My father's favoritism when I was young always made me feel that Aunt Shen wouldn't like me. After my father's death, I tactfully left the family home. After all the twists and turns, I ended up back here. Fu Jingchu called me many times. My old phone was practically ringing off the hook because of him, yet I remained calm." Shin-Che looked at me, hesitating to speak. "Was it Fu Jingchu? We're divorced." Shin-Che was taken aback for a moment, then deftly changed the subject. "Half a month later, Fu Jingchu managed to find me after all." The moment Fu Jingchu saw me, his eyes lit up. "Jingwei, so this is where you've been." Shin-Che stepped in front of me. "She has nothing to do with you anymore. You'd better get lost." Fu Jingchu sneered. "Who the hell do you think you are? What goes on between Jingwei and me is none of your business." I couldn't understand why Shin-Che and Fu Jingchu acted like sworn enemies the moment they saw each other. But I truly don't want to be entangled with Fu Jingchu any longer. "Fu Jingchu, have you signed the divorce papers?" He walked towards me and gripped my wrist tightly. "Jingwei, I won't sign. There must be some misunderstanding between us. How can we get a divorce? Please, just listen to my explanation." I let out a cold, mirthless laugh. "A misunderstanding? Did you think I still couldn't understand the French you were speaking with Suyu? Perhaps in your grand plan, I was never supposed to find out about this. Well then, just pretend I don't know, divorce me, and you can finally give Suyu the proper status she deserves, can't you? Fu Jingchu was still making excuses. Jingwei, it's not what you think, Suyu and I are innocent. Shinche couldn't take it anymore. He shoved Fu Jingchu aside and threw a punch. How could Jingwei have married someone like you? Not to be outdone, Fu Jingchu gritted his teeth and snarled, Shinche, I knew you hadn't changed. I should have finished you off back then. He lost all reason and threw a punch directly at Shinche's face. Fu Jingchu stood up like a victor, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and then walked towards me. Jingwei, let's go home. Okay. I slapped him right across the face. Fu Jingchu, how dare you hit my brother? He turned his face away, but showed no anger. Jingwei, Shinche is no good man. He deserved that beating. He's not even your real brother. Even if he died, it's none of your business. Shinche staggered to his feet without uttering a word. I answered him, enunciating each word deliberately. Fu Jingchu, it's us who have nothing to do with each other now. If you harm my family again, I'll fight you to the death. I walked over to help Shinche up, only to hear Fu Jingchu say with resentment, I never signed that divorce agreement, so we're still husband and wife. Jingwei, open your eyes and see clearly. How can a scumbag like this deserve to be called family? His gaze was fixed fiercely on Shinche. He calls himself your brother, yet he once stole a kiss from you while you were asleep. 6. My mind went blank with shock for a moment, and my heart gave an involuntary lurch. Shinshin looked at me, his eyes filled with complex emotions, yet he made no attempt to defend himself. I had never known about this from what I recall. After leaving home at 18, I only met Shinshin once. It was when I graduated from university that Shinshin brought me the news of my father's passing and the sum of money he left for me. I once thought my father was unfair, so I stubbornly left home. Only after his death did I learn of his difficult circumstances. I held his belongings and cried for a long time, with Shinche staying by my side all the while. It was so long ago, I don't remember how I fell asleep that day, but when I woke up, Shinche was already gone. Instead, it was Fu Jingchu I saw. Fu Jingchu's brow was furrowed, as if he had just been angry, but he didn't say anything, just told me to rest well and not be sad anymore. I didn't dwell on it any further that night. Shinche and I never contacted each other again. After our father's death, we were no longer family. Looking back now, perhaps something must have happened that day. That's why Fu Jingchu still remembers it to this day. Jingwei, you must stay away from people like him, or who knows what else he might do. Fu Jingchu tried to take my hand, but I shook him off. I know exactly what kind of person Shinche is. I took a deep breath and looked at him steadily. Fu Jingchu, I understood every single word you once said to Suyu. He took 2 steps back, a violent tremor flashing in his eyes. He, too, knew how despicable those words were, and how starkly they contrasted with his vows. Any defense now would be futile. I took Shinche to the hospital to have his injuries examined. As I was applying the ointment for him, he whispered softly, I'm sorry, what Fu Jingchu said is all true. I was silent for a long time, then looked into his eyes and said, you'll always be my brother. Throughout that long half hour, neither of us spoke another word. Fu Jingchu still refused to agree to the divorce. As long as you are my legal wife, we will never be apart. He stubbornly believes that doing this will allow us to reconcile completely. Just like before, I'm already prepared to go through with the divorce proceedings. I have plenty of time to drag this out slowly. With Fu Jingchu. Emran sighed. She never imagined things would come to this between us. After all the love we shared, he cheated on me just for a fleeting thrill, and now he has the nerve to stand before me and solemnly promise, I know you're upset because of Suyu. I'll just fire her, then I'll never see her again. I've already gone this far. What more do you want from me? Do I have to swear a blood oath right in front of you before you'll let this go? He considers this matter to be of little importance. If I were to press the issue further, it would be ungrateful of me. Amran was clearly won over by him and came to persuade me too. Jingwei, you should really think this through carefully. After all, you've been together for 10 years. How much he loves you is something we all know. He just made a small mistake. It's not like you need to get a divorce over it. No matter how arrogant that Suyu is, she could never replace you. Fu Jingchu still cares for you. Just give him another chance. Our old friends have all been reaching out to me one after another. They think I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Since Fu Jingchu has already apologized, I should just forgive him as a matter of course. I didn't argue with them. I just blocked them outright due to Amran's lack of understanding. I decided to find a new lawyer. Fu Jingchu was still pestering me, refusing to let it go. Jingwei, have you really lost all affection for me? I've already dismissed Suyu. I won't be seeing her again. Why are you still hung up on this? I looked at him calmly. Fu Jingchu, don't you understand that what's done cannot be undone? He blocked my path, his expression tinged with helplessness. Jingwei, I refuse to believe we'll end up going down that road. I said flatly, I don't love you anymore. He grabbed my shoulders in disbelief. No, Jingwei, you're just saying that in anger. I don't believe you. You wouldn't really give up on me, would you? I pushed him away, wanting no further entanglement. Once this absurd divorce proceeding is over, perhaps we will never see each other again in this lifetime. I was thinking exactly that as I walked forward, when I suddenly fainted without any warning. Jingwei, what's wrong? When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. Fu Jingchu looked at me with bright, joyful eyes. Jingwei, it seems it was all fate. I looked at him, utterly bewildered. Fu Jingchu took my hand and said gently, we won't get a divorce, because you're carrying our child. 7. My body froze, and in that instant, I felt a chill run through my entire being. I've had no appetite for the past 2 months. The stress of going through a divorce with Fu Jingchu was so overwhelming that I thought I was just unwell. It never crossed my mind that I could be pregnant. Jingwei, let's stop fighting. Okay, since you're pregnant now, let's just forget the past. Jingwei, I'll take good care of you and the child. My mind went blank, and my thoughts were in complete disarray. This child came at the wrong time, Fu Jingchu, and I should end things right here. Why does fate have to play such a cruel joke on me, the child yet unborn within me? Seems so eager to come into this world. Certain hormones in my body feel like they're rewiring my brain. A thought even surfaced in my mind. To keep it? No, absolutely not. This is the worst possible timing. I was torn. When Shinche came to pick me up, Fu Jingchu stopped him outside the hospital room. Fu Jingchu, what's the meaning of this? Why won't you let Jingwei leave? She's pregnant now. We're family, so I have to take good care of her. Shinche watched me from a distance, waiting for my response. Shinche, you should head back first. I'll handle my own affairs. Seeing me say this, Fu Jingchu's expression suddenly softened. Jingwei, I knew you'd come around. Joy spread across his face, and even his eyes shone with a clear light. Yet I withdrew my hand, not wanting to exchange another word with him. He was eagerly awaiting the arrival of this child and had prepared many things for the newborn. It even made me feel, in a daze, as if Fu Jingchu had never changed. He has always loved me so much, and it has been this way for the past 10 years. But I cannot simply forget. There was simply no way to erase Suyu's existence. I drifted through the past month in a daze. Just when I thought I might actually end up having this child without even realizing it, Suyu suddenly showed up. She had a complete grasp of my situation. I know you're pregnant. That's why Fu Jingchu won't divorce you. So what? He told me himself that all he feels for you now is a sense of obligation. I watched as the messages she sent chipped away at my last shred of hesitation. Do you really think it's over between us? Jingwei, you don't understand him at all. That's why he finds you so dull. He said that once you have the child, you won't be able to leave. By then, even if he keeps me by his side, there will be nothing you can do about it. I looked at these messages, a bleak smile slowly twisting the corner of my mouth. Suyu really knows how to twist the knife. She understands Fu Jingchu better than I do, and she can guess exactly what I care about. I won't allow something like this to happen, and I certainly won't let this child live in a family like that. Suyu's message solidified my resolve. Fu Jingchu noticed the odd look on my face. He asked, Jingwei, what are you thinking about? What could I possibly be thinking? I just wanted to honor Suyu's sincere intentions. That's all, and I won't hesitate anymore. 8. By the time Fu Jingchu realized what had happened and chased after me to the hospital, I had already gotten rid of the baby. His eyes red, he demanded an answer from me. Why, Jingwei, you are truly heartless. You promised me we'd start over. Why did you lie? I looked at him and suddenly laughed. I felt his words had a certain boomerang effect to them. When I was 19, I also believed he would love me forever. It turns out forever was only 10 years. His promises and vows had long since been swept away by the tide of that confession night, sinking into the deep sea. Now, he's merely experiencing the backlash of those promises. I said calmly, Fu Jingchu, what do you think? Your lies are even more convincing than I imagined. How could I ever be a match for you? I should thank you for letting Suyu tell me the whole truth. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made up my mind so quickly. When he heard the name Suyu, a flicker of astonishment passed through his eyes. Suyu, how dare she? What exactly did she say to you? His expression said it all. Fu Jingchu never really ended things with her. Perhaps, somewhere out of my sight, he's using that same set of promises to make vows to Suyu again. Fortunately, I no longer hold any expectations of him. Jingwei, she's lying to you. I never said anything to her. I swear to you, I won't see her again. I'll make sure she disappears from our lives for good. My gaze was calm and unreadable. Your affairs have nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear another word from him. I never even considered a future with him. I trudged towards Shin Che, and he draped a coat over my shoulders. Let's go home. I nodded. Fu Jingchu rushed over like a madman. Jingwei, please don't go. We're not divorced yet. We're still husband and wife. Our 10 years together, He looked at me pleadingly, his voice hoarse and weary, yet those words stuck in my heart like a thorn. Once, they made me hesitate, agonize, and feel sorrow. Now, that thorn has long since been worn smooth. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. My marriage with Fu Jingchu was a constant tug of war. It finally came to a complete end 6 months later. I never expected it. It all began with Suyu, and it all ended with her. 9. Fu Jingchu harbors a deep-seated hatred for Suyu because of my abortion. He thought I would never find out. He also thought Suyu would keep it a perfect secret. After all, he's given Suyu so many advantages. She wouldn't dare to provoke me. But what Suyu has always wanted, from the very beginning, is a proper status. That's why she's so resentful. Fu Jingchu blamed everything on her. I believe she's the one who drove our child to their death. He wants Suyu to suffer a living hell. Fu Jingchu even came to tell me, Jingwei, I've avenged our child, Suyu will never come between us again. I'm not lying to you. From now on, you truly are the only one in my heart. Shinche had never shown him a shred of kindness. When he hit him, he didn't hold back in the slightest. Yet, even so, he kept dragging his feet about divorcing me. It wasn't until Suyu had finally had enough that she took her revenge on him. Their private past was made public, sparking a huge online controversy. Both he and his company were suddenly thrust into the eye of the storm. It was only then that Fu Jingchu had no choice but to finalize the divorce with me. Jingwei, wait for me to sort out my affairs here, wait for me to come back. Without even glancing up, I got into Shinche's car. In the rearview mirror, I saw Fu Jingchu's gaze, filled with a desolate sorrow, his expression utterly shattered. Yet, to my surprise, I felt not a single pang of heartache. So this is the relief that comes with no longer loving him. Since everything here is settled, would you like to move to Haicheng with me? My company is listed there. I smiled and replied, sure. Shinche's eyes held a different, unspoken sentiment, but he didn't voice it, only looking at me gently and saying, Jingwei, we'll always be family. I know. I also understand the unspoken words behind his eyes. Perhaps after leaving this city, there will be new answers, but that remains a distant prospect. Fu Jingchu showed up again. He appeared just as we were getting ready to move. He looked much more haggard than usual, and the light had gone from his eyes. The scandal exposed by Suyu had caused his company's reputation to plummet. The carefully crafted persona he had built up over time came crashing down overnight. Clients were too afraid to work with him anymore. He harbored a seething hatred for Suyu, and the whole ordeal left him a shadow of his former self. Yet, upon hearing news of my departure, he was determined to see me one last time, no matter the cost. Jingwei, I need to talk to you. Shinche tactfully got into the car, leaving us some space, but when I saw him approach, I just stepped back. Jingwei, have we really become this distant? I didn't speak. I just remained silent. Fu Jingchu's eyes were filled with bitterness and emotion. I actually regret it quite a bit, I thought he would say, at this moment, that he regretted divorcing me under the pressure of public opinion, or that he regretted the affair back then. I never expected him to say, I regret ever speaking French in front of you. I thought you were slow, that you wouldn't understand. That's why I was so brazen. If only I had realized it sooner, perhaps we wouldn't have ended up here. I laughed in bitter exasperation, finding his words utterly ironic. What if I had found out sooner? He would have spun an even more perfect lie for me. He tried his best to perfectly conceal every sign of his infidelity. To this day, he only thinks he didn't hide it well enough. I don't think I did anything wrong. Fu Jingchu, why go to such lengths to deceive me? Since you like Suyu so much, just divorce me and marry her. Why put up with someone as unwelcome as me lingering in your sight? He shook his head in protest. Jingwei, I never intended to divorce you. Even if Suyu were by my side, I would never let her take your place. 10. She's the other woman. You are my one and only. Suyu isn't even fit to be compared to you. Fu Jingchu's so-called clarity in his remarks was truly an eye-opener for me. So it turns out he never considered his affair with Suyu to be a serious matter at all, as if maintaining my status as Mrs. Fu was some grand favor he was bestowing upon me. Am I supposed to thank him for that? Jingwei, what do you say we get back together? Suyu isn't qualified to threaten your position. She wouldn't dare. She'll never dare again. He came over and took my hand, his words sincere, as if this whole matter was the most ordinary thing in the world to him. I looked at him, but I couldn't find a trace of the man from 10 years ago. So this is how his love rotted away. Fu Jingchu, you're on your own now. I pulled my hand away and hurried into the car, panicked. He tried to run after me, but the car sped away, leaving him to chase after it, calling my name over and over. I didn't look back, nor was I moved. It turns out that a real farewell is one without tears. I cut off all contact with Fu Jingchu for good. I got a new phone with a new number, and moved into a new place. Starting over in my career has given me a fresh sense of direction. I'm doing really well. I've also gradually let go of any thoughts about Fu Jingchu. All the scenes from the past 10 years, Shinche gradually took over my entire life. He was by my side in everything I did. On one ordinary summer night, he confessed his feelings to me. I took the flowers from his hand, the cheers of the crowd washing over me in that dazed moment. It was as if I glimpsed the summer I was 19, yet it was into another's arms that I ran, and with him, I would never meet again. From Fu Jingchu's perspective, after Qing Jingwei left, I fell into a deep depression. I can't understand why someone as gentle-natured as her would insist on divorcing me, all because of Suyu. Suyu could never threaten her position. She will always be my wife. I will keep the vow I made at 19, and it will never change for the rest of my life. She doesn't believe me. If I had known I would lose her, I would have been more thorough from the start. Qing Jingwei is more ruthless than I imagined. I thought having a child would be her weakness. I never imagined she would abort the child just because of a single remark from Suyu. How did it come to this? Why has Qing Jingwei, who was once so obedient and well-behaved, become increasingly uncontrollable? She is far more clever than I ever imagined. I really shouldn't have underestimated her, thinking I could hide all of this. In the end, it became a thorn in our side. She is very stubborn. From the moment she resolved to get a divorce, she had already made up her mind not to look back. I watched helplessly as our love withered away, step by step, until nothing remained. After 10 years together, she walked away with such ease. I've even given up my company. All I want is to find her. Can it be true that she feels no sorrow at all without me? Later, I actually found her. I secretly watched her life, seeing her slowly forget about me. I even saw with my own eyes as she threw herself into Shinche's arms. My lips trembled as I clenched my fists tightly. I desperately wanted to rush over and demand to know why she betrayed me. She clearly promised she would love only me for the rest of her life, but the crowd kept us apart. I could only watch from a great distance, letting my tears blur my vision. After that, I could never catch a glimpse of her again. My heart aches so much, as if it's being swallowed by the icy sea. In the end, I couldn't tell if it was tears or seawater. All I could feel was a profound bitterness. That was the moment it hit me. I loved her so deeply, yet I truly lost her forever. A decade passed like a dream, and I can't accept it. I'm afraid I'll never get over it in this lifetime. The end. That's the end of the first story. I hope you enjoyed it. The next one will be even more exciting, so let's keep going. I am a world-class cardiac surgeon, too. Facilitate my emergency medical trips, the state directly gifted me a special vehicle with the license plate 1111, for my exclusive use. Whenever this vehicle hits the road, the traffic system clears the way, providing a green light escort for the entire journey. After receiving the car, I had been keeping it at my fiancé Yuan Zhou's house for him to maintain. That was until I was assigned an urgent mission to perform a heart transplant surgery on a senior official who held critical state secrets. I immediately headed to the Yuan residence to get the car. Just as I was about to leave, a strange woman pulled open the car door and got into the back seat. Take me to the mall for a manicure first, she demanded without a hint of courtesy. Then go pick up the ice cream Yuan Zhou ordered for me. If it's even slightly melted, I'll make you regret it. This is my car, I said, thinking she'd made a mistake, and spoke politely. I have an urgent matter at the airport. Please get out. Immediately, she cursed. Pa, a mere driver dares to impersonate someone. Open your damn eyes and look at the license plate. You're the one in the wrong here, the nanny beside her said, giving me a sidelong glance. Everyone in the city knows young Master Yuan loves taking Miss Shen out in this car. No one dares to cross them. I was stunned. My fiancé dared to use this car to take her out. This is serious. Using this vehicle without my permission is equivalent to misappropriation of state assets. That carries a minimum sentence of 3 years, not to mention using the car behind my back to go joyriding with a woman. That's an even more serious offense. If the Yuan family knows what's good for them and makes Yuan Zhou apologize to me properly, the state might show some leniency, considering he's my fiancé. However, I looked at the woman who was arrogantly occupying the back seat, acting all high and mighty. This Miss Shen, who appeared out of nowhere, is beyond saving. She refused to get out of the car, and I wasn't in the mood to argue with her any further. I simply averted my gaze, started the engine, and prepared to head for the airport. Saving lives was the priority. These matters could wait for Yuan Zhou to explain himself to me in person. After I completed my mission, the engine roared to life as I gripped the steering wheel, ready to leave. Are you out of your damn mind? She screamed, lunging from the back seat to frantically grab at my steering wheel. How dare you drive without my permission? The car instantly lost control and careened toward the wall. At the moment of impact, I seized control, stomping on the brake and wrenching the steering wheel. The car swerved, plowed headlong into a flower bed, and stalled. Are you insane? I blurted out, still shaken. Who told you to touch that? She rolled her eyes. Do it again, and I'll chop your hand off, bitch. I couldn't be bothered with her and immediately got out to inspect the dented hood. Thankfully, the car was still drivable. A small mercy in an otherwise unfortunate situation. Just as I was about to get back in, the Yuan family's bodyguards swarmed forward and shoved me away under the woman's triumphant gaze. They commandeered the driver's seat without hesitation. How dare you run after offending the young mistress? They snarled through gritted teeth. We'll skin you alive today. I never expected the Yuan family's bodyguards to obey her with such dog-like devotion. Who is she? I asked, turning to the nanny who was watching the scene unfold with cold indifference. You don't even know Miss Shin. The housekeeper looked at me as if I were a joke. That's Shin Liangyin, the young master's favorite intern assistant. I couldn't help but laugh. Just an intern assistant. And she thinks she can throw her weight around here. The Yuan family's management skills are truly lacking. I'll ask Yuan Zhou myself, I said irritably, pulling out my phone. Shin Liangyin immediately tensed up, her eyes fixed intently on me. Since he's the one who spoiled Shin Liangyin, I'm curious to see how he'll handle this. The phone rang for a long time before it was finally answered. Yuan Zhou, taking my car for a joyride already constitutes the crime of endangering public safety. I got straight to the point. Now get your intern assistant and bodyguard out of the car immediately. Tell them not to interfere with my mission. If you cooperate, I might put in a good word for you so you can avoid jail time. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Xia Yao, he let out a cold laugh. What gives you the right to ask me to inconvenience Liangyin for your sake? If you want to fight her for the car, you should first ask yourself if you're even worthy. I froze on the spot. Back then, the Yuan family begged me to marry Yuan Zhou to repay me for saving his life. They said he was easy on the eyes and had a good build, and that he could devote himself wholeheartedly to taking care of me as someone who poured all my energy into work. I was quite pleased when I saw his photo and agreed to the marriage right away. I never expected him to stand up for Shin Liangyin. Does he not realize that the Yuan family will go bankrupt if he doesn't marry me? It's only out of respect for me that the state is willing to give the Yuan family so many high-quality contracts. Chapter 2. He's completely unreasonable. You'd better think this through, I warned, barely containing my anger. If you waste my time, Grandpa, Yuan's heart transplant surgery will be too late. I've already scheduled Grandpa Yuan's heart transplant surgery for tonight, but if I don't successfully stabilize the senior official and make it back in time, the old man will just have to wait in the ICU. Every minute he waits increases the danger. Enough, Yuan Zhou cut me off harshly. Don't think I don't know you've been lying all along. I looked into it. The first stage heart surgery you performed on Grandpa was a minor procedure. Any doctor could have done it. You weren't indispensable. He sneered. You lied, telling him only you could succeed, just to seize the chance to marry into the Yuan family, didn't you? Now you've gotten your wish, Yuan Zhou said through gritted teeth. Even though I won't call off the engagement, I will absolutely never let you lay a finger on Grandpa again. My heart gave a violent jolt. My instincts as a doctor made me instinctively protest. No, I'm the only one who can perform this surgery. Still pretending, the man said dismissively. Liangyin found a cardiac specialist from abroad. I've already moved the surgery up. There's no need for you to worry about it. Dr. Xia, the surgery was rescheduled, yet no one informed me, the lead surgeon. If I didn't have this assignment, I could rush back to the hospital and stop it right now, but I'm powerless to do anything about it. Are you going to take responsibility if something goes wrong? I snapped. There are more people in this world begging me to perform surgery for them than I can count. Old man Yuan only got this precious opportunity by sheer luck. Given his status, he wouldn't even have the right to meet me otherwise. Since Yuan Zhou is so insistent on me not saving him, I can't be bothered. There was a pause on the other end of the line. I didn't expect myself to agree so readily. Nothing could possibly go wrong, he snapped irritably. I take full responsibility. With that, he hung up the phone. Seeing that Yuan Zhou wasn't backing me up, the nanny who had been watching the drama couldn't resist taunting me. Starting to regret it now, aren't you? She rolled her eyes. Miss Shin isn't just a trainee assistant. She'd only been at the company for a month before the young master brought her home, doting on her day and night. He even ordered everyone to call her the lady of the house. None of us dared to cross her. Who do you think you are, the lady of the house? I thought I must have misheard. Before I had even stepped through the door, the Yuan family already had a mistress. Don't you all know that young Master Yuan has a fiancé? I couldn't help but ask. Pa, the housekeeper sneered sarcastically. The young master made it clear long ago. Once that foolish woman crosses the threshold, she can get lost. He only recognizes Miss Shin as the lady of this house. Shin Liangyin let out a sigh of relief, looking at me smugly as she deliberately flaunted the diamond ring on her ring finger. I let out a Bitter laugh. The Yuan family is really too dishonest. If I had known Yuan Zhou was this filthy, I wouldn't have wanted him. I glanced at the time. The plane takes off in 30 minutes. We need to leave now, or we'll be late. Last warning, I said seriously. You can't afford the consequences of delaying my work. If you think it through and move the car now, I might put in a good word for you and let this slide. Shen Liangyan's eyes widened. A measly part-time driver like you couldn't even afford one of my shoes with a whole year's salary, she sneered. Even if I killed you, I could afford to pay for your worthless life. I had no time to argue. Seeing she was refusing to give up the car, I decided to go out and hail a taxi instead. I'd sort out the rest on the way, aiming to get to the airport within 30 minutes. Just as I was about to reach the door, a powerful kick landed in my stomach. My phone flew out of my hand instantly. Caught completely off guard, I was sent sprawling to the floor. It felt like my insides were being ground to dust. A coppery, metallic taste flooded my throat, and I coughed up a mouthful of blood. Shen Liangyin swayed her hips as she walked over and pressed her high heel into my face. You dare to leave without apologizing. Chapter 3. The searing pain in my body left me completely immobilized. Shen Liangyin aimed the stiletto heel of her shoe at my eye. One stomp, and my eyeball would burst instantly. Yuan Zhou's bodyguard stood beside her, gripping a baseball bat and eyeing me with malicious intent. I'm no match for so many people. I'm sorry, Miss Shen. I forced the words out, desperate to save my own skin. A life was on the line, so I had no choice but to yield. I have a patient who needs saving. Please, just let me go. A flicker of surprise passed through Shen Liangyin's eyes. A smirk curled her lips as she suddenly bent down, grabbed my hair, and slammed my head against the floor. You dare lie to me even with death staring you in the face, she snarled. Think it's fun to impersonate a doctor? Don't tell me you're just a ride-hailing driver. Even if you were a real doctor, I could snuff you out without breaking a sweat. I struggled, trying to shield my head with my hands. Shen Liangyin stomped her foot down on my fingers. I let out a cry of pain, trembling as I repeated, I'm sorry. As a doctor, my hands are the most precious part of my body. If they were injured, I might never be able to perform delicate surgery again. Scared now, Shen Liangyin sneered. Too late, she pointed at my car. Didn't you want to drive? I've thought of something even more fun. With a single glance from Shen Liangyin, the bodyguard swarmed forward, tied me up, and tethered me to the rear bumper. Realizing what she intended to do, my entire body began to tremble. I'll die. The terror of death made my breath come in short gasps. You can't. Smack. A slap landed on my face. Then a stack of crisp new red bills was flung at me. 20,000. For your life, they sneered. Miss once killed someone driving this car without a license and only paid 10,000. You should be grateful. The moment the words were spoken, the car started. Lying on the scorching ground, I was instantly dragged away. The driver, Shen Liangyin, deliberately accelerated and swerved sharply. A satisfied laugh escaped her lips as she saw me flung into a thorny rose bush. The exposed skin was scratched with streaks of blood by the sharp thorns. I'm only wearing a thin set of casual clothes. I'll freeze to death if this keeps up. Suddenly, the car screeched to a halt. Shen Liangyin flung open the driver's side door and hopped out. TSK, I thought you'd be scared out of your wits, she said with an affected air. I've used this trick on 5 people, and you're the most boring one. I had no way to argue. The bodyguard had just tightly wrapped my mouth with tape. Shen Liangyin was pleased with this and jumped back into the car to start it up again. She deliberately drove the car onto the dirt road. The fine sand ground through my skin, burrowing relentlessly into the flesh. My elbows and ankles were worn down to the bone. The excruciating pain clouded my mind. I wished my heart would just stop, to die and end the torment. Just as I was about to pass out, Shen Liangyin slammed on the brakes. Chapter 4. Brother Yuan Zhou, you, she excitedly threw herself forward. I struggled to lift my eyelids, wanting an explanation from my fiancé, but the person who stepped out of Yuan Zhou's car wasn't him. It was his secretary, Suhi. Shen Liangyin immediately felt wronged. I was so upset today that I didn't even get my nails done, and he sends you to brush me off. I don't care. He has to come and make it up to me himself. The young master needs to stay with the old master during his surgery, the man explained. So what? The doctor I hired is a foreign expert. There's no way anything could go wrong. Shen Liangyin pouted. And he wouldn't even come to keep me company. Suhi's brow was deeply furrowed. The moment our eyes met, he gave a violent start. He hurried to my side, his eyes filled with shock at the sight of my body, covered in blood and wounds. The young master ordered me to take her to the hospital immediately. He reached out to untie the ropes binding me, barely clinging to life. I could only feel the bitter irony of it all. It must be that the old master's heart surgery went wrong. That's why he wants to find me again. That surgery was extremely perilous. No one but me Could have pulled it off. Her, Shin Liangyin stared at me in disbelief, her eyes brimming with jealousy. No wonder you dared to enter the Yuan household. So, using the rideshare excuse was just a ploy to provoke me, she screamed. Confess, how dare you seduce Yuan Zhou behind my back, you shameless hussy. She yanked Suhi's hand away from the rope. You think you can take my place, she sneered. I've seen plenty of women like you. Yuan Zhou is just having his fun. Once he's bored, he always hands you over to me. Even if I play with you until you're dead, he'd only praise me for a job well done. Consumed by jealousy, Shin Liangyin ran back to the driver's seat like a madwoman. The car roared to life. She slammed her foot down on the accelerator. Suhi, who had intended to save me, was left far behind in an instant. I felt the skin on my back being ripped off along with my clothes. My wrists were ground raw, the flesh worn down to the bone. Aawa, Shin Liangyin suddenly screamed with a loud bang. The car screeched to a halt. Suhi didn't hesitate to ram her car, forcing her to stop. Had enough of this scene, he panted, his chest heaving. Director Yuan said he's taking her. Doesn't he love me anymore? Shin Liangyin sobbed. He'd rather be seduced by this low-class mistress than comfort me. While she was distracted by her crying, I seized the moment and, with my last ounce of strength, broke free from the frayed ropes. I lunged at Suhi and snatched his phone. My hands were ground to a bloody pulp. I could never hold a scalpel again. The mission to save the old leader was now utterly impossible. Bleeding profusely, I clung desperately to consciousness, enduring excruciating pain. He desperately used his hand, with finger bones already exposed, to send a text message to the city's leadership. I am incompetent and have failed the nation's trust. I can only atone for my sins in the next life. Chapter 5. What kind of nonsense is this? Delete it now. Shin Liangyin's shrill voice echoed in his ears. I was losing too much blood and couldn't hold on any longer. My vision went black, and I collapsed to the ground. I don't know how much time passed before I groggily opened my eyes. The moment I tried to open my mouth to gasp for air, I coughed up a mouthful of blood. Where is Xia Yao? The blurry figure before my eyes grew clearer and clearer. I finally recognized the person. It was Yuan Zhou. His brow was furrowed, his whole body radiating hostility, looking as if he was here to settle a score with me. You come straight over and look for her. What's so great about her? Shin Liangyin whined in a coquettish voice. If you like her that much, why don't you just go live with her? I promise I'll leave quietly. Stop fooling around. Yuan Zhou's voice softened, dripping with affection. Shin Liangyin's smile grew even brighter. Basking in the favor she received, she took Yuan Zhou's hand and led him to stand before me. The moment he saw me, the man's eyes widened, his gaze locked onto my face, and upon confirming I was indeed Xia Yao, his breathing grew ragged, his chest heaving. Yet in the end, he said nothing, unable to bring himself to even reproach Shin Liangyin. She bullied me on purpose today. She scared me half to death. Shin Liangyin showed no remorse. I just taught her a little lesson. You're not angry, are you? You did all this? Yuan Zhou frowned, his eyes full of disbelief. Exactly. Shin Liangyin nodded with an innocent, childlike gleam in her eyes, like a little girl delighted with a new toy. When I removed the uteruses of those foolish women who dared to cling to you, you didn't say a word. Now she gets a few scratches, and you're suddenly heartbroken. You're getting worked up over some random rideshare driver. I'm jealous. Hearing Shin Liangyin so casually talk about removing someone's uterus, even though I was prepared, I couldn't help but be horrified. Her time with Yuan Zhou has hurt far too many innocent people. All of this audacity was given to her by the Yuan family. The cruelest irony is that the Yuan family's power and confidence all came from me. In that case, good riddance to this in-laws family. Yuan Zhou bent down and suddenly grabbed my already mangled shoulder. I let out an instinctive, agonized scream. There's a problem with Grandpa's surgery, he said through gritted teeth. Come back with me. Now, if I had the strength, I'd be laughing out loud, but I don't even have the energy to laugh. I can only manage a faint smile. I am a liar. I promised you I wouldn't touch a single hair on the old man's head. Old mister, Yuan's heart transplant surgery may seem straightforward, but in reality, it's fraught with immense danger. I'm the only one in the world capable of handling it, but my hands have been ruined by Shin Liangyin. Yuan Zhou's eyes blazed red with fury, as if he wanted to kill me on the spot. I'm warning you, he snarled. If you still want to marry me, you must go back and save Grandpa. You owe me this. I raised my arms and held both hands up before his eyes. The raw, mangled bones of my wrists were starkly visible in the sunlight. Not a single one of my 10 fingers was intact. The slightest movement sent a searing, bone-deep pain shooting through them. What makes you think, I ground out through clenched teeth, these hands could ever perform a successful heart transplant? Yuan Zhou's face instantly drained of all color. Only then did he notice how badly mangled my hand had become. The last Hope of old Master Yuan was personally destroyed by the very girl he doted on. Impossible. He took a deep breath, his eyes bloodshot. You must have a way. Suddenly, a sharp, insistent ringtone cut him off. The voice on the other end of the line was unnervingly clear. The old man. He's not going to make it. Chapter 6. Elder Yuan was not just the patriarch of the Yuan family, he was its very lifeblood. With him gone, the Yuan family is bound to collapse. The old master went to great lengths to arrange my marriage to Yuan Zhou in his lifetime, hoping my presence would command enough respect to uphold the family's prestige. Now his carefully laid plans had been utterly destroyed by Yuan Zhou and Shen Liangyin. Don't talk nonsense, Yuan Zhou hissed through gritted teeth. Wasn't he supposed to be an expert? How could he fail the moment he stepped into the operating room? Start emergency procedures immediately. I'll bring Xiaoyao back right now. You've been conned. That foreigner is no expert at all. On the other end of the line, the voice was filled with righteous fury. He went into the operating room and with one cut severed the old man's main artery. There wasn't even a chance to save him. I looked into his credentials and found out his documents and identity were completely fake. He has no medical license whatsoever. He's a total fraud. Where on earth did you find him? Yuan Zhou's body gave a violent shudder. He collapsed to the floor as if the very soul had been sucked out of him. Shen Liangyin, annoyed that he was staying by my side instead of paying attention to her, first shot me a dirty look, then swayed her hips as she sidled up to him. She wrapped her arms around the man, as if putting on a show just for me. My manicure is so outdated, she cooed. You've been with her for so long, you'll have to make it up to me twice over tonight. Yuan Zhou, who had just suffered the loss of a loved one, stared blankly ahead only when Shen Liangyin pressed close. Did he snap out of his daze? Crack. A large hand slapped across Shen Liangyin's face. Talk. Where did you find that foreign expert? His gaze was as cold as if he were looking at a corpse. Me, of course, used my inside connections. The oblivious Shen Liangyin continued to lie. He is the most authoritative expert abroad. I went to great lengths. Smack. Another slap landed. Shen Liangyin trembled with fear. I just want the truth. Yuan Zhou looked down at her imperiously. I want you to answer me. Why were all his documents fake? Why did he cut open Grandpa's chest and sever his aorta? Her eyes were filled with utter confusion. Finally realizing the gravity of her mistake, she broke down in terrified sobs. Someone must be framing me, she pleaded, her voice thick with, I really don't know anything. I just wanted to save Grandpa. It must be that doctor, your lying fiancé. It has to be her. She's the only one who could have tampered with things at the hospital to harm Grandpa. I really don't know anything. Yuan Zhou turned his head, and our eyes met. Was it you? He asked, his voice icy. Shen Liangyin looked at me, then at Yuan Zhou, and suddenly understood. You're actually Yuan Zhou's fiancé. Unable to contain her glee, she pulled a bottle of water from the car, scorching hot from the sun, and poured it over my face. The scalding water seeped into my wounds, the pain so intense my vision went dark. I wished I could just black out right then and there to escape the torment. It must be her, she shrieked with glee. She'll pay for grandfather's life with her own. Let's see if she dares to fight me for the title of Mrs. Yuan ever again. Instinctively, I shot a pleading look at Su He. He was the only person present who could possibly save me. Noticing my gaze, Yuan Zhou actually stepped forward and blocked Su He's path. My desperate will to survive instantly turned to ice in my veins. It suddenly dawned on me that Yuan Zhou was simply indulging Shen Liangyin in her torment of me. With the old master gone, I was of no use to him. The mistakes made by his precious little girl could all be pinned on me, forcing me to bear the brunt of everything. It wasn't that he was unaware Shen Liangyin had hired the wrong expert. When faced with the truth and her, he chose to protect her. Chapter 7. Take me to the hospital, I reminded them through gritted teeth. This is your only chance at redemption. When they see that text, my superiors and teachers will definitely come. If I die, they will make every single person who knows pay a terrible price. Are you addicted to playing the tough guy? Shen Liangyin laughed. You really think someone's coming to save you? Let me make this clear. Around here, only the Yuan family has the final say. Who's making all that noise? The words had barely left his mouth when a familiar voice reached my ears. Shen Liangyin, who had been gloating just moments before, instantly became restrained and docile. Like a well-behaved house cat. It wasn't until the woman walked closer that I recognized her. It was my future mother-in-law, Yuan Zhou's mother. No wonder Shen Liangyin was putting on an act. Noticing me, my mother-in-law-to-be furrowed her brow and hastily covered her nose with a handkerchief. The other members of the Yuan family who had come with her also pointed and whispered, their eyes filled with disdain. The old man has passed away, and instead of preparing for the funeral, what are you doing here? Mother-in-law demanded sternly, glaring at Yuan Zhou. And who on earth brought in that foreign quack? Shin Liangyin, standing to the side, trembled from head to toe in fear. She immediately raised her hand and pointed straight at me. It was her. I was the one who found the foreign specialist, but the person I found was a genuine expert. Xia Yao has it in for me. She secretly switched the person to frame me. She began to cry as she spoke. You have to believe me. I'm truly innocent. Yuan Zhou made no attempt to explain on my behalf. Instead, he gave a composed nod. My mother-in-law shot me a look of pure disgust, as if she wished she could tear me limb from limb right then and there. I knew all along you had ulterior motives for cozying up to the old man. Her voice was dripping with venom, her malice towards me completely undisguised. I think you're just afraid Enine will expose you as a fraud. You can't make it on your own. You can't marry into this family. So you've set your mind on framing her. I knew from the very beginning you were a jinx. The old master died before you even set foot in this house. How do you explain that? After Mother Yuan finished speaking, all the members of the Yuan family pointed their fingers and whispered about me. They didn't know my true identity. They only knew I was Yuan Zhou's seldom-seen fiancé. If it weren't for Shin Liangyin, our Yuan family would be finished. I think Enine is far better than her. Now that the old master is dead, we won't honor the engagement. Just looking at this jinx turns my stomach. We'd be better off letting Assistant Shin into the family sooner. Their whispers drifted into my ears. With so many members of the Yuan family backing her, Shin Liangyin stood tall and confident, struggling even to sit up. I once again cast a pleading look at Su He, Secretary Su. I managed to say with difficulty, if I die, please inform my lawyer to donate all my assets to the state. As for the engagement, I choose to terminate it with Yuan Zhou. Immediately, even in death, I refuse to be buried as Yuan Zhou's fiancé. The very thought disgusts me. Okay, yes, Su He agreed with a nod. A smile of profound relief spread across my face. I've held on for so long, but I can feel my life slowly slipping away. With the Yuan family here, there's no way they'll take me to a hospital. You dare to call off our engagement? Yuan Zhou's gaze was complicated. Are you playing some trick I don't know about again? I said I'll marry you. I'm just demanding that you know your place from now on. Don't even think about competing with Enine for favor. With me here, you'll never win. Me. I shook my head. I don't want it. Having said all I needed to say, I couldn't hold on any longer and collapsed. Everyone inside, get down on the floor with your hands on your head. Suddenly, I heard a multitude of voices. Dr. Xia is here. Begin emergency treatment immediately. Chapter 8. Over a dozen heavily armored vehicles smashed through the gates of the Yuan family estate and stormed inside. Even the seasoned head of the operations department, who had seen his fair share of scenes, had red-rimmed eyes upon seeing the wounds covering my body. Who did this? He demanded, his fury undisguised. You, how dare you harm the nation's medical genius? The members of the Yuan family, who had just moments ago accused me of being a fraud, all looked up at me in unison. Only Shin Liangyin's eyes were filled with defiance. Who are you? She shrieked defiantly. You dare to trespass on the Yuan family's turf. Watch your back, or you'll be out of a job. I'm telling you. I have. Click. The cold, heavy muzzle pressed against her temple. The man racked the slide right in front of her. Shin Liangyin's incessant chatter ceased instantly. Confronted with the terror of death, she was utterly petrified, her legs giving way as she collapsed to the ground. Her teammates tried to help her up 3 times, but she couldn't stand. Useless. The man cursed. All talk, no backbone. I was transferred to a medical vehicle. The hospital had transfusion packs of my blood type ready. I received the blood transfusion while my wounds were being debrided. The patient has severe abrasions. Debridement must be thorough to prevent infection, the doctor reported. The worst damage is to her joints and wrists. She may only recover about 70% of their function. The tough-as-nails man's eyes instantly welled up. Don't be afraid, we'll get specialists. I promise we'll get you fully recovered, he said, fighting back tears. The state failed to protect you. This is our failure. I shook my head. How is the old chief? The minister sighed heavily. The rescue was too late. He's become a vegetable. The secrets he held, I'm afraid he'll never be able to tell them now. I was utterly heartbroken. I'm sorry. If I had completed the mission, our old chief, he wouldn't have suffered brain death. The state trained me, and yet I failed the mission. This isn't your fault. It's mine, the man said through gritted teeth. The leadership saw your message. When you went dark, the action team immediately started looking for you. Once they confirmed you were in danger, they gave us a direct order, find you, and fast. We tracked the location from the phone you used to send the text. Good thing we made it in time. This time, we're settling all scores, old and new, the minister said as he jumped down from the medical vehicle and walked straight towards Shin Liangyin. Do you know who I am? He asked. Shin Liangyin shook her head, trembling, utterly unable to meet his gaze. Then let me make it clear, he said gravely, my duty is to protect Dr. Xiao's life. When she faces mortal danger, my responsibility is to get her out of it, and what you've done is more than enough for me to execute you on the spot. Shen Liangyin's eyes nearly bulged out of her head, but she only has a scratch, it was just a little joke. She protested frantically, I'm the one the Yuan family is marrying into, my status is far superior to hers, why are you targeting me? The man didn't bother with words, he directly ordered his team to cuff her. Why? He sneered, because you incapacitated the country's only cardiac surgery specialist, preventing her from operating, and caused the old leader's death by denying him treatment. For those two reasons alone, the court could sentence you to death immediately. Shen Liangyin, who had been too arrogant for her own good, finally learned what fear was. Yuan Zhou, she pleaded, her face a mask of terror, save me, I'm innocent. Yuan Zhou's face turned ashen, his lips trembling. He never imagined everything I said was true, my status was beyond anything he could have fathomed. Chapter 9 The Minister of Operations was already a figure he dared not cross. Those even higher up were beyond his contemplation. The thought of what he had just done to me filled him with bitter regret. Favoring Shen Liangyin brought him no benefit, on the contrary, it would be the ruin of the Yuan family. The other members of the Yuan family had also come to this realization. Everyone felt as sick as if they'd swallowed a fly. Who could have imagined that the person they looked down on was actually a nationally renowned surgical expert? Had they been just a bit more respectful, they could have latched onto a powerful connection and soared to great heights in the future. Yet, they had all scrambled to back Shen Liangyin instead. She led them straight into a pit. I almost forgot about you. The minister pulled out a log. You've been swanning around town in Xia Yao's car, taking Shen Liangyin shopping 15 times, joyriding 22 times, and on countless other trips. Every single time, you demanded a dedicated escort to clear the roads. Your actions, together with hers, constitute the crimes of endangering public security and misappropriating state assets. With the combined penalties, I'm looking at sending you away for at least 20 years of reflection. 20, the old woman was aghast. How is my son supposed to live with that? 20 years in prison would break even the most capable man. I have a marriage contract with Xia Yao. I'm her fiancé, said Yuan Zhou, his face pale as a sheet. For the sake of my position, perhaps we could just let this go. I couldn't help but laugh. I gave him so many chances, yet he refused to take any of them. Only now, with death staring me in the face, do I realize how valuable my status as his fiancé truly is. And what about her? The minister tilted his chin toward Shen Liangyin. She harmed my fiancé. She got what she deserved, Yuan Zhou said with chilling indifference. In fact, I was only driving because she blackmailed me. She's vain and loved the VIP treatment of having an escort clear the way. Besides, she's just my intern assistant. Women like her are a dime a dozen. Shen Liangyin, who had always believed herself to be deeply cherished, was utterly stunned. Exactly, her actions have nothing to do with our Yuan family. My mother-in-law chimed in immediately. I only recognize Dr. Xia as my daughter-in-law. Keep those other flies and cockroaches away from us. Minister, this marriage was arranged by the old master himself. Even though he has passed, we must honor his wish and welcome Dr. Xia into our family. Knowing the Yuan family was doomed, they immediately distanced themselves from Shen Liangyin. If I hadn't seen how they fawn over the powerful and trample the weak, I might have actually believed they sincerely accepted me. If even one of them had genuinely tried to help me, I wouldn't have been hurt this badly. You've forgotten, I said softly. I've already broken off our engagement. Now, I have nothing to do with your Yuan family. No, I never agreed to that. Yuan Zhou protested urgently. I never once thought of not marrying you. Who are you to have an opinion? The minister laughed. There's no shortage of suitors for Dr. Xia, from families you could never dream of reaching in your lifetime. Her willingness to marry you was a stroke of incredible luck for the Yuan family, since you looked down on her. Fine, forget it. Guards, take everyone away. Having lost everything, the Yuan family members seized the chance to hurl abuse at Shen Liangyin, cursing and beating her. They hated her as a jinx and a homewrecker, the one who destroyed a perfectly good family. But they forgot, if it weren't for Yuan Zhou's indulgence, she would never have dared to commit such evils. Afterwards, I was transferred to the intensive care unit. Fortunately, my internal organs weren't severely injured, and they could heal with proper rest and recuperation. The people who had begged me to treat them were utterly devastated to learn I wouldn't be able to pick up a scalpel for at least a year. In their despair over losing their loved ones, they took their vengeance out entirely on Shen Liangyin and Yuan Zhou. In less than half a year, the Yuan family was completely ruined. Shen Liangyin's past misdeeds were dragged into the light. Due to the severity of her crimes, she was sentenced to death and executed immediately. Her own family chose to sever all ties with her. refusing to even let her through the door in death, terrified of being tainted by association. As for Yuan Zhou, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. As for me, I am working hard on my rehabilitation, striving to restore my hands to a normal level so I can treat patients and save lives. The end. That's all for today's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.